Welcome to today's Meet the Planet. I'm Jenny Griffin. We've got a great show lined up today with several interesting guests. First off, Doug met up with Ben Cohen. Most of us know him from being the founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. We're going to hear what he's up to these days.
With a world-renowned Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. He's also the president of nonprofit, nonpartisan group Business Leaders for Sensible Priorities. Welcome to Meet the Planet, Ben.
Hi, how you doing?
I wanted to ask you, what was your inspiration for the Business Leaders for Sensible Priorities?
It was the idea that we're the richest country in the world, and yet we've got the highest child poverty rate in the industrialized world. That, there's so many unmet basic human needs, and this group of business people wanted to see if we could use the tools of business to try to figure out what was going on and how we could fix it.
I'm wondering about, is this a nonprofit group? Is this an organization that...
Totally nonprofit, believe me.
Then when and where was it founded?
Well, it was actually founded at a business for social responsibility board meeting. There was a bunch of us talking about how, for the first time ever, Congress had added more money than the Pentagon asked for and taken it dollar for dollar out of programs for kids and health care and housing, and that was kind of what started it all off.
So you decided to get active on this because of programs the government was cutting?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, in terms of my earlier life, as a kid growing up on Long Island, we would drive into New York City with my parents and pass through Harlem, and it just seemed so crazy to me that just because people were on one side of some imaginary line, they were, living in, really lousy conditions, and people on the other side were living great. And I thought, when I went to elementary school, they were talking about, equality and fairness, and it didn't seem equal or fair.
And I wanted to ask you about what similarities and differences do you find between running a business like Ben & Jerry's and a nonprofit group like Sensible Priorities?
Well, it's interesting, in terms of marketing the issue of how the budget is spent, we're really using the same sorts of techniques that we used in terms of marketing Ben & Jerry's, and it was driven by the same thing that, we didn't have enough money for TV advertising. And so we ended up coming up with these very high-touch ways of marketing and using a whole lot of mobile promotions and, just trying to be very cutting edge. So that's very similar. The part that's not as similar is that, ice cream tastes really good. And, the federal budget, it's a little dry.
I'm sure you've never heard this one before, Ben. What's your favorite Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavor?
Cherry Garcia. I don't know what it is. There's just something about that combination of chocolate and cherries that works for me.
Another question briefly. What's the Whole Rainforest Crunch ice cream flavor campaign? How'd that get started?
I went to a Grateful Dead concert at Madison Square Garden that was a benefit for the rainforest. And I was invited by Peter Bayhuth, who was the head of Greenpeace at the time. And I was sitting right next to Jason Clay, who was with Cultural Survival. And Jason was saying, we've discovered that the rainforest can be as profitable if it's sustainably harvested as opposed to when it's cut down and turned into cattle ranches. And he said, we just need people to use stuff that grows in the rainforest. And we found Brazil nuts and developed this ice cream flavor based on maximizing the use of Brazil nuts to support the living rainforest.
And I want to ask you, if people want to get involved with what you're doing now, where can they go?
They can go to sensiblepriorities.org if you're a business, and if you're a regular person, you can go to truemajorityaction.org.
And thank you so much for appearing on Meet the Planet with us.
Good to be here.